very much for watching training, which is a quite a short presentation on Thailand. So I've decided to go for Thailand this week for a few different reasons. Firstly, just as I said with Lapland last week, it's a great time to start promoting places like Thailand. Our winter is the perfect time to travel to somewhere like Thailand with regards to staying away from the rainy season, going further afield. The other thing you notice in the winter is people like to go places that are good value for money. So obviously Thailand is known to be really cheap once you get there. So people really do get the value traveling somewhere like that. Another reason is, as we know, somebody like JTA, for example, you can price up your own twin and multi centers on their system. So not only is it great for actively getting things out on your social media, but it's also perfect for those of you who are still sort of training yourselves on the system and like to have a bit of a mess about, can kind of kill the two birds there and do that at the same time. Obviously, we've got the contract in place with TUI now, and people may or may not know this, but TUI offer one of the only direct services into Thailand, into Phuket, from places like Manchester. So whereas usually we would only maybe expect a direct service from your main London Heathrow or Gatwick airport, TUI have managed to branch out using their Dreamliner planes and to be able to get that far from even further up north, as I say, places like Manchester. So that is really great as well, and a really good, unique selling point with them. Some people, as much as it is a very long flight, just want to get there. So they do have that option without traveling down south first. So, as I say, this isn't, obviously, I do sit and do this, so it's certainly not a deep dive into Thailand. But as with the cruise ones that we've done, and with a couple of the other countries and destinations that we've done, just more of an oversight and giving people an idea of the country itself and how sort of diverse it is as well. And it decides to work. There we go. Okay, so a very quick overview of Thailand. So it is located in Southeast Asia. It's very famous for its beaches, the cities such as Bangkok, as well as the rich history. It has a population of around 69 million, and it's one of the most visited countries in the world. And that is from all over the world. And people get to see the blend of tradition and modern life that they seem to do so very well over there. Cultural significance. So Thai culture is a harmonious amalgamation of influences from Buddhism, the monarchy, and diverse ethnic groups. Festivals such as Songkran and Loi Krathong showcase traditional customs, art, culinary delight, which reflect the rich heritage. Excuse me, sorry about that. Climate and best time to travel. So Thailand experiences a tropical climate. So it's got 3 distinct seasons: hot, cool, and rainy. The best time to visit is basically, which you wouldn't think of, but during the cool season from November to February. And basically, a lot of the festivals go on at this time of year. Obviously, it's the least amount of rain, but also the least humidity. When it says cool season, we're not talking teens. We're still talking very high 20s, perhaps even into the 30s. Prior to that, they do have more of their rainy/monsoon season. And if you were to also look, March time, sort of going into April, is great as well, just not as concrete as the November to February months. And then I've just popped a couple of resorts in here. So Thailand is home to some of the world's most stunning beach resorts. Phuket, Koh Samui and Krabi always tend to stick out to people. These resorts provide direct access to the pristine beaches, along with the luxurious amenities, infinity pools, spa services, and beachfront dining. I didn't note it in here, but I have also popped a picture of the PP Islands on there as well. As much as you don't necessarily tend to find people staying there as much, you certainly would be a fool not to visit the PP Islands, James Bond Island, as you know, as they start getting their own nicknames and things. You you honestly would be missing out if you didn't go and visit for at least a day. And then to start with, I've gone for just a couple of luxury resorts here. So I think people do kind of know the likes of Asia and certainly looking this kind of way, Thailand and places like that. They just seem to be known to very much have these real top of the range luxury sort of resorts. So you obviously are going to get clients who will go from one end of the scale to the other, but they really, when they do top service, they go all out and do top service. So the Siam in Bangkok is always shown on films and programs and what have you. It's a very tall building, circular at the top, outside sort of dining area. I've seen it actually very recently on one of the Hangover films. And also, I don't know if anybody's ever watched the Jack Whitehall program on Netflix where he goes traveling with his father. They also stay in the Siam Hotel in Bangkok. Six Senses in Koh Samui, again, known for its sort of fine dining, very luxurious. These Six Senses Koh Samui is this one here in the middle. Excuse me. And you name it, they can do it. If it's something, it would have to be unimaginable, I think, but something that they don't have within their hotels, these kind of properties would go and source it for you. And then we've got the complete opposite. Well, I say complete opposite side. I've purposely put this photograph on as well. So I don't really like the word budget, and I'm sure many of you will know that by now. But unfortunately, budget accommodation is there's not really another way to put it. But hostels, guest houses, excuse me, lower rated sort of hotels, apartments, that kind of thing. If you've got somebody who wants to go to somewhere like Thailand, but they are on a real tight price range, or you know that they kind of want the absolute best for their money, or maybe just don't have the money to spend on these stupendous 5-6 star resorts. The Ibis Hotel here, this one is in Phuket. Please don't quote me on that. I think this one's in Phuket. Comes up at a stupidly good price, yet you can see it's still got all of the facilities of a pool and being seafront and things like that. So you can go from one end of the scale to the other without having to give up every single amenity or service. Those that want to stay in a hostel, you absolutely can. But this would be classed as a budget accommodation. And to me, it's a good photographing because it's not what we would necessarily think of as a budget accommodation. And the other thing that's becoming more and more popular is the eco-friendly resorts. This here is quite infamous, to be honest. We'll probably, without even realising, have come across either a photograph very similar to this or maybe one from a different angle. But this property is known worldwide for the eco-friendly, the sustainability, the responsible tourism. And to me, it just is absolutely amazing. And so they don't kind of take away the luxury from these eco-friendly resorts, but they do make a very good choice for people who are conscious of sustainability, environmentally friendly, all of that sort of thing, which, as we know, is becoming bigger and bigger year in, year out. On to the next, historical sites. So There's so many, you know, with regards to the temples and the different heritage sites and things like that. There's too many to list. But the ancient city of Ayutthaya, which is this photograph here, and that is a UNESCO World Heritage Site featuring impressive ruins from the 14th century. But we've also got places like the Grand Palace in Bangkok, which you can see there, as it says, showcases the opulence of Thai architecture. And the sacred Wat Phra Kew. I did have to Google how to pronounce that. So for anybody who is, I'm sure, much better with the Thai pronunciations, I will apologise in advance. And then Thailand's natural beauty includes breathtaking landscapes such as limestone cliffs of Krabi, the tropical islands of Phi Phi, the national parks like Khao Sok, which has got the rainforest, the diverse wildlife. These are kind of, again, just to show it's not all beach and water sports and things like that. There's so much to see. I think, you know, even there, put diverse wildlife. When people think of Thailand, I think I may be wrong, but knowing what I know, I think in the past people automatically think of things like the elephant sanctuaries and what have you. And it's just not necessarily the case. There's so many different species of animal still out in the wild as well, which is obviously huge nowadays. But it just gives you an alternative for different types of clients. Urban attractions. So Bangkok obviously stands out with regards to the street life, the contemporary malls, the temples, but you have also got other urban destinations, Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, which is known for their traditional festivals, the modern cafes, and again, it just sort of blends the two of old and new Thailand together. So if you do have any clients who like the idea of maybe having some nights in a city, but don't want to go all out in your face Bangkok, Chiang Mai is another really good one to offer. Smaller, not quite as loud and in your face, but still very much gives you that authentic feel of a Thai city. And of course, the festivals and the events we will have all seen. Again, even snapshots without even realizing, we'll have seen photographs of maybe the light festival and things like that, but they have so many different festivals, more than I ever realized when I was doing some research. Loy Krath Long, which is the one down here at the bottom where they set off all of the lanterns and they float them all over the water. Different symbolizations for these festivals and events as well. So that one specifically is to get rid of any bad energy and any negativity and what have you. Songkran, which is the Thai New Year. I've seen some photographs of this again while I was doing my research for the presentation, and it's just streets and streets of water bites. I did want to put a photograph in. I don't know why I didn't. It may have just been space, but one of the first things I noticed with the Songkran festival is there was actually just elephants in the street spraying people with water as well. So all the people were just having real big, random, huge water fights, but the elephants were getting involved as well. And obviously they can be really, really popular with tourists as such. The only thing to bear in mind is places like Thailand go very, very big with their events, with their festivals. Obviously, a lot of it is to do with their culture and, as it says there, the New Year and things like that. What you would need to bear in mind for anybody who wanted to go away for one of these, there will be supplements. So chances are the flights may be a little bit pricier, and the same with the accommodations. You know, these things attract people from all over the world. So, you know, like when we had what we had recently, we had Eurovision in Liverpool last year. You know, a big sort of football match or a big boxing buy or whatever it may be. Over here, our accommodation, our hotel prices would go up. It's exactly the same over there. On the flip side, if you have somebody who isn't really that bothered about going to something like this, it may be worth checking when these festivals are, certainly the big events, and making sure that it doesn't cross over, because your client may not want to go when there's thousands and thousands of extra people, but also if they're not wanting to necessarily go for that reason, they also won't want to pay over the odds price wise for something that they're not necessarily going for. So it's just worth knowing maybe key dates and things as well. Onto a couple of activities. So water sports obviously is huge over there, and you name it, you can do it, which is why I put this photograph up there. But snorkeling, scuba diving, kite surfing, parasailing, rapids, as you can see here, going through the caves. I popped a fishing photograph up there as well, because that's something I don't really think it's classed as a water sport, but I had nowhere else to put it. But it's also something that can attract, again, a different type of client that you may not necessarily have thought of or known about. The big game, I think it's called game something, game fishing and whatnot. But they have a lot of different areas where any keen fishermen, fishing enthusiasts, apparently it's the fish and things that you can go and catch out there would be an absolute dream for these kind of people. So marine life, active, those of you that, if you're anything like me, I'd be sat on the beach, whereas maybe my other half would be in this little thingy thing down here. Again, you're opening up, you can kind of tick everybody's boxes with the things that you are able to do out there. And I felt it necessary to put hiking and trekking in because, again, it's somewhere that you wouldn't necessarily think of, but there are quite a lot of hiking and trekking trails and opportunities. So the hills around Chiang Mai, Khao Sak, the national park there, jungles, wildlife, obviously the views. It's something different. It's something a little bit more niche. And one day you'll come across somebody who who are keen hikers and walkers and want to do something completely different. It's somewhere, to me, that would just never pop into my head had I have not been necessarily doing this research. And cultural experiences. Again, I think that people probably would think about these kind of things when it comes to Thailand. Certainly, the temples and what have you. So engaging with Thai culture is a must, including visits to the ornate temples such as Wat Pho and Wat Aram, as well as participating in traditional festivals, going back to the one we were speaking about, Songkran, which is the New Year. This one is the nickname is the White Temple for obvious reasons. And if you were to have a look at this and Google the White Temple, some of the angles that you can see this from are absolutely unbelievable. Sorry, my phone's just started talking to me. Apologies. The angles that you can see this from are just unbelievable. So Lord only knows what it looks like in person. I imagine it's just absolutely breathtaking. And of course, I've had to dip into the food just a little bit as well. We all know about the street food and the local markets. And again, it's something that you see whenever anything relating to Thailand is on the TV or on a video, whatever it may be. But I think, again, street food doesn't always mean scorpion lollipops, spiders on sticks and things like that. The fresh vegetables, the rice, the way that they do some of these things. I've been watching some videos and they deserve to be in 5-star restaurants, some of these people. Obviously, you do have to be careful when it comes to things like the street food. And these guys are used to it. They've been, born and brought up in this kind of environment. But for us, and our sort of Western stomachs, we do just need to be careful. I do need to just pop that in there. But yes, cooking classes and things like that are getting bigger and bigger out there as well, which I'm sure we'd all be able to cook a little bit of Thai food. Yes, so health and safety, actually, I have put it in there. Vaccinations for diseases like Hep A and typhoid may be recommended. 9 times out of 10, that is only if you've been to certain countries in X amount of time and what have you. But you will get these kind of questions. Do not ever give anybody advice as such. Just tell them to go straight to the doctor and ask the doctor. So we know that there's nothing mandatory. You can absolutely say that. But for somebody like myself, for example, going back quite a few years now, I flew out to somewhere in the Caribbean, and for whatever reason, and obviously I was a travel agent at the time, and I knew that there was nothing that was mandatory, but for some reason I just contacted my doctor anyway, and it turned out somehow I'd actually missed one of my vaccinations from when I was a child, and I needed that in order to go from a health and safety perspective. So had I have been sat in front of a travel agent and they'd sold that to me, if they'd have given me the advice of, oh, there's nothing recommended, there's nothing that you need to have mandatory, you're absolutely fine, then, something could well have happened. So you don't give any kind of advice other than just speak to your doctor. I can tell you that there's nothing mandatory, but it's worth checking with them, just for those kind of simple reasons. And again, as I put there, travellers do just need to be cautious of the hygiene when it comes to things like the street food. But again, I'm sure we're all sort of aware of that anyway. Transportation options. I've popped this in here because, again, I think we see so many videos and they're showing the tuk-tuks and they're showing taxis and all of that kind of thing. But the BTS SkyTrain and the subway are very quick, very reliable, very, very heavily used and really, really efficient. And again, for those on the sustainability side of things and the more eco-conscious side of things, public transport, the subway system and the SkyTrain are a great way to get around as well. And with regards to local etiquette and what have you, it's not an overly strict country, really just things like removing your shoes before going into the temples or entering homes. It is just sort of known as being polite. It's not completely frowned upon. I'm sure it probably is more so in a temple. It's not completely frowned upon. It's just known as being polite. And the traditional greeting, why, when meeting somebody, is also sort of just a sign of respect as well. English is very widely spoken in tourist areas. It's not something that your clients would really struggle with. Although obviously you'll get some people who really want to get into the nitty-gritty and move away from the tourist areas. So the best thing you can do is maybe advise them to either go online, download a free app or something on the phone, and perhaps just you learn a few basic phrases that are going to get them through. And again, it's just known as a sign of appreciation for their culture as well. And that is literally the end of the presentation. So with regards to Thailand, gold medal you can book through. If it's a single centre, so if it's somebody that just wants to stay in one area, let's use Phuket as an example, you can go ahead and you can book that on gold medal directly yourselves. If they're wanting to stay in more than one destination, then you need to call gold medal for that. JTA, as I said earlier, they do, of course, have the multi-destination tool on their system. So you would be able to book pretty much anything through JTA. Obviously, if you don't quite have that level of confidence, you can by all means give them a call. But I do think it's quite nice to do it yourselves. You can't go wrong. You can't do anything wrong with regards to accidentally booking or anything like that. You just kind of stop when you get into popping your passenger details in. but it really gets you in there. You can see the different flights that are available, the internal flights that it gives you, and obviously the range of accommodations. Sometimes it's just nice to see the prices as well. You know, if you call, let's say, JTA and tell them that your clients want a central 4-star accommodation throughout their trip, then that's what they're going to give you. By doing it yourself, it may well be, and obviously I'm not saying it's going to be the case, certainly not every time, but it may well be that a 4-star to a 5-star, certainly in some of these areas in Thailand, may only be an extra 50 or 60 pounds or something, and could be a really great selling point when you're giving the options to your clients. So it's quite nice to just get in there yourself, have a look at your different options, different alternatives, excuse me, which obviously you can't necessarily always get on the phone. And then for those of you that have been in the program for 45 days or more, of course, that gets you access to TUI as well, who also do Thailand, but they are single centre only. So they don't just use their own flights. They will put Emirates, for example. They can pick up those kind of flights as well. But with regards to the stay side of things, they will just do the one stay when you're looking at the packages on there. I suppose that's another thing as well, just very quickly. If you are flying with somebody like Emirates and it's obviously going via Dubai, always offer it as an option. Were you wanting to stay? Were you wanting to spend a couple of nights in Dubai because you're going through the airport anyway? You know, you're upselling, but you're also offering a service. And it may well be something that your client may not know about. They may not know that that's a possibility. So yeah, just always offer. Again, gold medal, they will do that for you. You can do that yourself on JTA, or you can give them a call if you're more comfortable doing that. But we've certainly got a few different ways of getting there from a holiday perspective. Then, of course, we've got people like Exotica with their tours. They do quite a lot of Thailand, and they will also, off the top of my head, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, you know, they kind of will put those together. If you've got somebody who wants more of an escorted tour compared to doing it themselves. So you've got plenty of options, again, to kind of tick your boxes with all different types of client. But for anybody not watching in real time, I'm going to say thank you very much. And we're back on Tuesday with a recap of what's going on in June. So thank you all very much for watching. And I shall hopefully see some of you next week. If not, as per, it'll be recorded and you can watch it at your own leisure.